Today on the channel, we're talking insulation, different types of insulation, why you want to choose them, and then we're going to install some in this van. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, Matt here for AVC, and welcome back to the shop. Like I said in the intro, today we are talking insulation. So we're going to be going over different types of insulation and what people like to use in their camper vans. And then we're going to talk about why AVC likes 3M Thinsulate the best. Then we're going to talk about how we install these pieces in the van. And then finally, we're going to be installing some of this in our Ford Transit here. This is just one video in a build series here. We're building our 2025 camper van. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button now so you can follow along with this entire build. Now, if you're interested in getting a van built by AVC, use the link in the description below and our team will reach out to get your project started. Let's get to work. So first, let's talk about the insulation types that we definitely don't want to use in the van. First is our normal residential fiberglass in a vehicle. It's not really designed for a camper van. It's not going to stick well. It's going to absorb moisture. It's going to hold moisture in it. It's also going to have fiberglass particles in there, which we just do not need in our van. The other type of insulation that we definitely don't want to consider is spray foam. Spray foam is an awesome insulation. It's probably the best insulation out there. But if we're applying spray foam directly to the walls of our van, if we ever have to get body work done, it's an absolute no-go. If we need to cut a path or put some new wiring into a place, it's going to be a huge pain in the butt. And it's going to lock that insulation right next to the skin of the vehicle, which means any kind of modifications, anything like that, it's going to be a mess. I've had a couple people stop by the shop with a completely spray foamed van and say, hey, can you work on this? And frankly, we just say, no, sorry, we're not going to do that. The other insulation that's really popular in the van community that we personally don't like to use is wool. Now, wool insulation can have some advantages. It's a natural fiber, so it's naturally grown. You know, we like that. We love the earth, all that kind of stuff. And they say it doesn't smell, but personally I think it smells, so I don't really like it. Being a natural fiber, natural things are going to want to live inside of it. So I've seen some horror videos out there that have bugs living in the walls of a van, and that's just absolutely disgusting. It's nothing I would ever want to deal with. So the only insulation we use here at AVC is 3M Thinsulate. So here is a little sample of 3M Thinsulate. This is the SM600. It's a 1.5-inch loft, and it has a single scrim layer on it. Now, if you look in behind me, you can see we have just about everything Thinsulated in the van, and we always have the scrim layer facing inside the vehicle, and that's because we want to glue this open baffle to the wall of the van. This is going to help with sound dampening as well as absorb a lot of sound, and 3M Thinsulate is actually designed as a sound absorbing material. So this, its first job in the world, and what it was designed to do is be a sound absorber and a sound dampener. So this is made for acoustics, but it also has some R value because of the nature of the material. So it's a 5.2 R value at 1.5 inch loft, which is what this will loft to. This came right off the master roll, so it's compressed, but it is going to loft over time. And actually, some of the insulation that's in the van now has lofted, so we got a nice pillowy insulation. The main thing for it is going to absorb sound, which is going to give us really good ride quality. So we want to glue this open baffle directly to the wall of our van. The other thing about this is it's hydrophobic. So it's not going to hold moisture, mildew, it's not going to mildew, it's not going to mold, anything like that. It's designed to not do that. So over the life of your van, this isn't going to be a disgusting piece inside the vehicle. I've taken some old vehicles apart, and they have Thinsulate, and it looks brand new. It looks totally perfect. Another advantage of 3M Thinsulate is it will not hold a flame. So if I take my blowtorch here, and I'm going to light this thing up, and we're going to see it's going to melt, but it's not going to hold a flame. So if you have a short in the wall, God forbid something happens in there, it's not going to burn down inside the van. So let's go ahead and fire this thing up. And if I hold this to here, you can see it melts away, but it's not holding a flame, it's not igniting, it self-extinguishes. This is a good, safe material for the inside of your vehicle. The last thing about this is it's really easy to cut. I don't have to worry about wearing gloves with this product. You could probably eat it, although I wouldn't recommend it. But a just simple pair of scissors here, I can cut this stuff in half. It makes it super easy to use. We can throw it in the van, and it's a really easy DIY project. To install our Thinsulate today, I'm gonna be using 3M20. Now 3M20 is a low-cost adhesive. It's super nice because putting insulation in is not a super critical material. I want it to stick to the wall, obviously, and stay put, which is what we want to do. We don't want to tie it in with strings and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't work, and the insulation is going to fall off the wall. We want to adhere this directly to the metal of the van or to our sound dampening material on the outside of the van, and that's so that it absorbs sound and it stops resonant sound transfer. So this is the second step in our sound absorbing. And this is a low VOC formula. It's California compliant, so we can ship this to anybody around. If you want to pick some of this up, we have this available on our website, so you can order a case of this or you can order it by the single can. Now, we're going to go ahead and spray this on both sides. So we're going to spray it into the van, we're going to spray it onto our insulation, and then we're going to apply it. So let's go ahead and get this last piece done. We're going to stuff that last piece up there to give you a couple examples of how to do this. Now, if you're doing this yourself at home, just stuff everything up with insulation. I would not go double thick everywhere until you get all your wiring in. Once your wiring is in place, maybe you can add a couple extra nooks and crannies. But honestly, this is gonna keep us warmer in the winter. It's gonna keep us a little bit cooler in the summer. But our heater is gonna do a really good job of keeping us warm, so we don't have to go absolutely bonkers with this stuff. If you overstuff panels with insulation, it's gonna be a problem for you when you get all of your wall panels in. Everything's gonna pillow, nothing's gonna fit right. So I think just be reasonable and add a little extra depth where you can, but don't go crazy. So let's go ahead and measure this cavity that we're gonna be filling. So I have about 12 inches here, and I pre-cut a piece off of our master roll. We're at like 12, 13 inches, which is fine. The nice thing is you don't have to be super exact with insulation. If you stuff a little extra in there, not a big deal. We do want to measure down and into this nook. I can bring it up here, and okay, I'm going to cut it right about there. So it's really easy. We don't have to be like the most precise. You can order pre-cut insulation kits on the web from certain manufacturers, and you know, it's cool. It seems like it's going to be a really big advantage, but it's pretty easy to do. So if you want to save yourself a little time, you can get that pre-cut insulation kit, but it's not necessary. So we're just going to spray both of our surfaces. Put ourselves down there, flip this thing over. I'm just gonna hold it up here so I don't get overspray on my flooring. Okay. Now, one thing I will say, if you're gonna be insulating your entire van, maybe wear a pair of work gloves, because the inside edges of some of these metal panels in the van are pretty sharp, and you're gonna end up cutting your hands a little bit. It's not very pleasant, and so that would be my one recommendation there. So we can go ahead and just stuff it down into our hole down here. We're gonna have to work around our skeleton kit that we installed in a previous video. So we can just tuck it in right there. And we're just gonna press into these nooks and crannies in here. And that's it. Okay. So I would go through your whole van, get a single layer everywhere. You're gonna probably have some leftovers. So if you have some leftovers and you just wanna stuff them into these little edges in here, something like that. You know, obviously this is not going to do anything, but you can see here we had a little extra and we stuffed it into this corner. You know, if you got the extra, yeah, go ahead and stuff it in all those nooks and crannies. So let's go get this last panel up here done. So our last piece we need to put into this van is just going to be inside this upper cubby here. So we can just get our glue in here. Just going to do a good job everywhere I can fit it. Let's go ahead and get outside the van. We'll spray glue on this one. This is a bigger piece, and I don't want to get overspray everywhere in here. We can make our life easy. We don't need to wrap it in single pieces necessarily. There's no advantage to having an unbroken piece of this. All right, that is it for this episode. I know it's kind of a short one, but that's because you don't really need to watch me insulate this van for another 30 minutes. But if you have questions about the process, hit us up in the comments below and we will take care of you there. Hit that like button if you learned something new today. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. We'll see you on the next episode.